right, so Anthony Joshua does an interview with one of his many business partners in JD Sports. And he's speaking on the instant of June 1st, and you know how we've been doing this thing lately. We like to analyze, break it down, and do it bit by bit. So that's what we're going to do for this one. All right, let's get into it. Respecto.
There's been a lot of mystery surrounding this fight as a whole. So I want to ask you how you felt at certain moments and see if you can kind of almost relive it.
Yeah, no problem.
But before we get on to this, obviously you went to America.
Yeah.
You were in Miami first and then New York.
Correct, yeah.
How were things in the build-up to the fight?
In the build-up, things are as they should have been. Training's like a lifestyle for me. So I never have an issue with preparation. If you put me and Ruiz in a machine, you know, 9 times out of 10 I should beat him. And that was just his night.
Okay, I got to stop it right there. See, Anthony Joshua was a smart individual, and I don't understand why I didn't take this in consideration. This is his first major loss. This is the biggest heavyweight fighter on the planet, and God knows how long. Everybody's going to be paying attention to it, so who can better take their pain and monetize it than Anthony Joshua? And another thing, I know he's not lying about his preparation and how he trains because, I mean, look at the guy, man. You can tell he's a workout warrior. But that doesn't necessarily mean that your mental preparation was there, or that doesn't mean that you worked as hard as you necessarily should have, or you would have put in that necessary work for, say, a Deontay Wilder, as you would have Andy Ruiz. No, but I'll digress right now because there's a lot more that he's going to get into. Oh, but one more thing. Y'all hear how he said if you put him and Andy Ruiz in the machine 9 times out of 10, he will be the one that comes out. See, Anthony Joshua has his way of flexing his muscle a little bit. You know, he ain't going to be always the most outspoken, but you can tell this shit is really pissing him off right now.
Yeah. He got the win, and we get to do it again at the end of the year.
I've probably watched this fight like 10 times already. Yes. And I don't watch fights often when I've seen the fight already. I kind of give it some time to marinate and I'll go back to it.
What's interesting with you saying that is me beating Ruiz, you wouldn't have watched that fight again. So with this fight here, I feel like where I've been fighting for so many years, when I come into the boxing arena, it was like I was steamrolling through. So it was just, Josh was gonna fight, boom, knock him out. Yeah. So from walking into a gym to 3 years later competing at the Olympics, from turning professional to 3 years later becoming world champion, it seemed like this was already written in the stars. Yeah. But I think behind the scenes, it's like the efforts and the education and the mind training that it takes to develop these skills or capabilities to be in that position are tiring.
As I said yesterday when I did the one video about him saying he was going to go into beast mode in the rematch, you know, he's going to peel back his truth by layers. Now it's starting to come out. He's starting to speak on some of the things that, you know, were really going through his mind that night. He's already letting us know that shit, this is just one other ordinary night to him. Just breeze through, knock a nigga out, chill in New York, go back to Miami, jump on a plane, come home, and try to continue to get Deontay Wilder's ass in the ring. So he wasn't really feeling it. He wasn't inspired by it. It felt no different than, you know, any other time that he's had to fight for certain accolades or certain situations were much larger than life than necessarily this one. Even though he was in New York, that crowd is nothing but 20,000. This man is used to, say, 90,000 people crowd. So I can understand where he's coming from there, but I'll digress.
It's all said and done. The fans, most of them, only see a few clips of you training and then fight night.
Correct.
They don't see the hard graft, the hard sparring. They don't see all of the background stories. So to them, it's almost, or to a lot of people, it's almost like, oh yeah, AJ's fighting tonight, AJ's gonna win. But they forget there's someone there who's trained for you as well.
Yeah, who's waiting for their moment as well. And when it looks easy, they'll never really truly respect what it is that you're trying to achieve. Yeah. And even myself, when it's going pretty well, it is what it is.
Let's have it right. There's no easy fights when you're a unified heavyweight champion. There are fights that are probably easier than others, but you still have to train hard to make it look so easy.
My purpose for that fight was, am I fighting Wilder next? Yeah. the purpose for that fight was, what is he doing next? It wasn't solely on winning that fight. Do you know what I mean? So this is quite an interesting situation we can talk about now, looking back on the result.
So let's go for it.
Okay, of course, he's about to break down the fight. I'm not necessarily too much interested in that because I kind of already know the headspace he was in there. But as we already knew, and as I've suspected, and as you guys suspected time and time again, he wasn't necessarily even thinking about Andy Ruiz. I mean, shit, I told you guys that shit the moment I saw him let Andy Ruiz hold them belts. I said there's certain things as a champion you wouldn't necessarily do. So it's just like in his little actions leading up to the fight, there are subtle things that Anthony Joshua were doing that just letting us know that he wasn't even thinking about this shit at all. Like that final press conference, that final face-off, like I don't even think he was mentally in the arena. I think he was somewhere else, winking at fans, being the nice guy, being the champion, but it didn't even dawn on him that he could ever even lose this fight because everything was riding on his Deontay Wilder match, his future, like I said, his legacy fight, the thing that was going to make him undisputed, because that's all that's really left for Anthony Joshua at this point. I mean, shit, he got all the money, but I digress. Let's continue.
From the most famous venue in the world for sports and entertainment, the mecca of boxing.
Usually when the ring announcer's announcing you, you don't look quite like that, which was a little bit just within yourself. Do you remember how you felt?
No pressure. There's no gain. There's no gain from me. I'm in America. I'm not being told to go there. It's not mandatory. We've just gone there because we wanted to do big things in boxing. And the good thing is, even though any of my fights you come to, and what I've learned, even though I lost that fight, it's still a massive defining moment in my career.
Massive.
Every fight that I think you come to of mine, you'll always leave with something to cherish. Yeah. But this fight, in terms of what it meant, there was no real gain in it. So beating Ruiz, I could be sitting here now and it wouldn't have meant as much to me as what it's going to mean to me to train for the rematch.
100%. 100%. Beating Ruiz that night wouldn't have done anything for him. So that just lets you know how Anthony Joshua felt as a heavyweight unified champion about that particular fighter. His uncle wrote Upset King next to his name, but he couldn't necessarily get up for that fight. I mean, look at the things he has already accomplished. He didn't even look at this like it was a situation. But your loss could come in many different shapes and sizes, and it wouldn't be the one that you necessarily would suited to believe. You didn't even feel as though he was worthy of getting a W on you that night. I guess if you're looking at the guy's stature, you wouldn't necessarily think that he takes his craft seriously, because boxing is 100% about fitness, but also it is about your wind. His fitness might not have been up. He might have been a chocolate-eating fat boy, Snickers-eating fat boy his whole life, but his wind was up. But you see, Anthony Joshua says it wouldn't have felt as good as the rematch, because now he has something to work for. Now he lost something and he has something to gain. There wasn't anything to gain from that situation right there. The only person who could gain from that situation was Andy Ruiz. And he's maximized his gaining potential and his earning potential in that situation. But I digress.
Were you aware of looking like that?
No.
It's mad.
Just felt so relaxed. Like, I know what I'm capable of doing.
Yeah. I was watching it and I was thinking he is either super relaxed or it's just like, or it could be one of those flat performances. But then round one came and everything looked fine.
Yeah, that's what I mean, because I know what I'm capable of doing. But in the terms of what the 1% are, they mean so much when you're at championship level boxing. Everything it meant to Ruiz winning is everything it didn't mean to me beating him.
Yeah. So he's coming in at 110%. This is his, he's just been thrown a lifeline.
It's everything.
And he has everything to gain, absolutely nothing to lose. You have, in truth, not much to gain and everything to lose.
All facts, sir. That's why I said he should have never let Andy Ruiz hold those belts. Andy Ruiz was focused. Andy Ruiz was doing diligence. He was calling Eddie Hearn. He was being a pest. He really wanted to fight, considering that there were other people that were in consideration when Andy Ruiz wasn't that guy. He took the opportunity. He made the most of it. So it meant everything to Andy Ruiz and not Joshua. And that's where certain things went wrong.
To lose. So it's hard. And when it's all said and done, you've been at the pinnacle of the sport for years, like winning the Olympics, going straight into like superstardom. So
now let's get it on. We're about to fight. The bell's gonna go, and it's like, all right, cool. Let me go in there and do what I know I can do best.
So at this point, we know Ruiz is a counter puncher, but he's also a combination puncher.
He is, yeah.
At that point, I'm taking it, you're obviously like downloading some data.
Yeah.
What are you thinking from that first 30 seconds of the fight?
He can't keep up with me with my feet.
When you're throwing shots, he's obviously looking to punch with.
Correct.
Which makes it a bit harder, but at this point in the fight, after this little combination here, that doesn't land obviously, but it was whiskers from both of you. Did you think, okay, I have to be pretty careful with what I throw because he wants to return immediately?
I have to set my shots up in a way that whatever I throw out, I know if something comes back, I'm ready to defend. Then it humbles the fighter who's trying to humble
you.
Yeah, exactly.
But having said that, you did still vary the jab upstairs and downstairs pretty well. And it seemed a little bit like business as usual.
Yeah, correct.
In a way, it was a very interesting first round, but still not much has happened yet. You're kind of understanding what he wants to do. He's trying to outthink you as well. Cool. So round number 2, he comes out with probably, I'm not sure if he comes out with more velocity, but he definitely starts letting his power shots go early. I think there was a double left hook he tried to throw.
Yeah.
His corner's probably saying, you know, like try and apply some pressure or something like that.
Yeah. In the second round, I heard the crowd booing.
Did
you remember that?
I don't remember that.
Someone told me there was a fight going on in the arena. That's why. You know, debut in New York, the crowd's booing.
Okay. So, and going back to the corner after the second round, that's in your head. You're thinking.
Correct. Okay. And especially the week before, Wilder had knocked out Brazil in the first round. Yeah. I'm fighting 2 weeks after, so let's go and handle business. Do you know what I mean? If I don't want to let the people down, I could cruise this fight.
Yeah.
6 rounds, the beef weren't cooked yet.
Okay, just as well as I'll say good things about Anthony Joshua, I will say adverse things about Anthony Joshua as well. Anthony Joshua is very influenced by what other people think, as I can see from what he's saying right now. Because he heard boos in the crowd. It was a crowd. It was a fight going on. He felt as though he wasn't performing well. He felt as though he needed to pour it on. He was worried about what Deontay Wilder did to Dominic Brazil and did it a little bit faster because he said it before him. So that's an ego shot. But those are all triangle theories, and Anthony Joshua needs to let that go. And I'm sure he has. That's why he said he has to be in control of everything inside of the ring and outside of the ring. But at no point should you worry about what Deontay Wilder's doing or what's going on with the crowd and how they feel. The ultimate thing is getting the W because you came too far to lose everything that you worked on. But that's the mental headspace he was in. Anthony Joshua was one person that always likes to please everybody. That has not changed. And that's one thing I notice about him. But that could be his ultimate, that could be what leads to his downfall at the same time. You got to focus on you. Forget everybody else. But I'll digress. Let's continue.
The beef was still being seasoned.
This round is like one of the most dramatic rounds in the history of boxing. So we have a beautiful right uppercut, left hook. And at that point, it seemed like, okay, you're such a good killer that immediately after he gets up and he's counted to 8, you go after him, you land a good right hand, snaps his head back. And it looks like the writing's on the wall. We've seen this however many times.
I agree.
It looks like it's there.
Yeah.
And then it almost seems like on autopilot, he whips out a left hook, roll left hook.
Correct. And the first left hook catches me on the chin, which was fine. Then as he's gone under again, it's the one that caught me behind the head. And that's when all systems kind of shut off. Yeah. And at the same time, it's boxing, so either you're going to know how to ride that punch or you're going to suffer the consequences. And from that shot onwards, it was really difficult for me to get back in the fight.
Do you remember how you felt? Because those big shots, definitely like your head kind of scrambles, your brain's kind of like still trying to recalibrate. Yeah. Do you remember how it felt?
The fight that I need to fight to beat Ruiz, I should be switched on 100%. And with the shot that I had taken, where it had switched off part of my system, I knew I was fighting at 80%. And I knew that it was just going to be a bit of an uphill struggle. So mentally, I just know that I had to kind of keep myself in the fight and not try and overexert myself. Yeah. I've been here before with better fighters where it's been a bit of a slugfest. But I always remember after that fight I had with Klitschko, I said I never want to be in a slugfest again because I know how much better I can be. And I found myself in this situation again. And now it's just how do I now try and climb out of this battle again, which is a battle that I shouldn't be in against someone like Ruiz, in my opinion. Yeah.
He tries to put some pressure on.
That left hook again.
Yeah. But you did a good job here of holding and just trying to buy yourself some time, but then the trading happens.
Look at Anthony Joshua's eyes in this shot right here. That nigga is pissed. If he could get in the ring tomorrow, he would do it. But I digress.
Did you know at this point that you were hurt? Because you know sometimes you get stung.
Weak. Just the body.
Yeah, and
the
it's
body
not responding as you know it should.
And that's why when all your blood, is pumped around your body, your heart rate's high, the event's really coming in, honing in on you. Yeah. All the pressure starts coming together and you start really realizing and feeling every aspect of your training. I walk in the door, me and your trainers, you're going to say, yep, he's going to do well. Yeah. Big, strong, athletic. Now, that's training for the good times because we're looking at all the positives. Now we have to look at every aspect. Okay, and at this stage I could feel because I wasn't now the big guy, strong, that's going to come through and knock everyone out. I was the guy on the back foot. Now I start thinking, damn, I wish I didn't do this. Yeah. Man, I wish I would have done that and I would have felt better in this situation.
We get to the very end of the third round.
Yeah.
Fatigue obviously sets in, all of this stuff. We go down again, but it's the end of the round.
Yeah.
So we get to go back to your corner and regroup. Yeah. At this point, it's a fight.
Yeah. Exactly.
And it's in, we are now like in deep waters.
Yeah.
At that moment, is there still a part of you obviously that knows, all right, I've been here before.
Yeah, 100%.
I just have to make almost a little bit of nothing happen for a little bit and almost diffuse until I feel strong again. So he comes out after you in the fourth round.
If I would have come out with the same tenacity that I have here, you see what I'm saying? In the first round, I'm now 3 or 4 steps behind, trying to catch up. But my engine's fired. Now, if I would have been at the start line, but with the same engine fired, as soon as the bell goes, I would have been 3 or 4 steps ahead. But I didn't have that same one. Looking at this guy,
because you were so relaxed.
I don't want to be in the ring with Ruiz. They're talking about Wild and Furious. This is Road to Undisputed, not Road to Ruiz.
This is probably one of the best Anthony Joshua interviews I ever heard. He telling the truth now. I told you, he has a very distinct way of talking shit. Listen to him. Man, I'm supposed to be talking about fighting Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder. I wasn't being there with no fucking Ruiz. This is supposed to be the road to Fury, road to Wilder, not the damn road to Ruiz. I digress. Let's continue. One more thing, man, but you still should have focused up, man, whether you wanted to be in there with the Michelin tire man or not, man. I digress. Let's go.
Do you know what I mean? But now I'm on my job to get this 2-time heavyweight championship of the world. I need to get these titles back.
So in a way, you did in the next round, or even the next 2 rounds, I think it was, you did exactly for me what you should do in terms of just keeping him far enough away, but you still haven't recovered fully. Did it get to a point where you felt as if, I'm not sure if I'll ever get back to...
Yeah, but it's cool. I'll stay in there. I'll be honest with you, I don't know where I am.
You're an autopilot.
This is instinct, autopilot. But it's cool.
At that point, do you have that thing where it's just like, all right, we just need to find a way out, and I'm gonna find it some way in terms of I'm gonna beat him somehow? Or are you aware that this is gonna be like I'm gonna need some kind of miracle because
I don't know where I am. I don't know where I am, but all I know is that I'm in a fight and I've been here before. And every time he's knocked me down, I can get up. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't a problem where I was like flat on my back, where he's hit me with a shot that I just couldn't recover from. So I'm like, all right, just stay in there, keep fighting. This is my fight, stay in there. But my body was like, I was at 40%. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? I'm not even in a position where I can be like, oh, I'm going to take him out now. It was just a matter of fact to just stay in the fight, keep trading, stay in the fight.
Okay, so all in all, what Anthony Joshua was saying at this point, after he done got knocked down, after he done got up, after he done got knocked down again, he's trying to stay in the fight. He's not even really motivated to want to fight this guy. You know, he's thinking about Tyson Fury, he's thinking about Deontay Wilder, he's thinking about what's going on in the crowd. He feels humiliated and all this other shit. He's only at 40% because the muscles, the lactic acid, the lack of breath, all of that shit is weighing on you, because every time you get knocked down, it takes a little something out of you when you're getting up. So he's just dealing with the situation and trying to process it for what it is. We know that, but that's all you had to do was say this, but I understand. Monetization. I'll digress.
Made sense. And you were still landing some good shots.
But that's what baffles me after the third round. Like, that was, if Ruiz in the same position I was, how I felt in the third round, he wouldn't have made it to the fifth. It took him 7 rounds. That's what baffles me, because I went myself.
Well, I think you still had a very good poker face, because from where I was looking at it, it looked as if you were doing that thing that you did against Klitschko, for example, where you took a little bit, you just stayed until you feel like, okay, like I've got enough in me to go.
Yeah.
And that's what it looked like. It looked like maybe you were just
Klitschko's fight was a different meaning and feeling to what. I was already where I should have been to fight Klitschko. I was already where I needed to be mentally to fight Klitschko. I've gained more attention and more meaning from losing than I would have by winning to this guy.
100%, 1000%. That is all the way facts. You got more attention from losing this fight than winning this fight. So in a way, you know, you couldn't maximize anything off fighting Andy Ruiz. And I mean, to be perfectly honest, what were you going to do after Andy Ruiz? Fight Kubrat Pulev, fight Alexander Usyk? Yeah, that would have been interesting, but nobody would have cared about that either. All you would have heard is more grumblings about Wilder, Fury, and no matter how much they did not want to fight you. So honestly, this kept you busy, to be perfectly honest, and it gave you something else to work for as a 2-time champ. But I just had to jump in because he made that particular point right there. I'll digress. Let's finish this interview.
And nobody would have thought that Ruiz Jr. would have played such a big part in the AJ story.
Correct.
And now we've got a massive fight on our hands.
Massive fight on our hands.
So you see certain mistakes that you made, but you're still replying with what you should reply with. Yeah. You know, you're trying to counter his jab with your right hand. And then you land a right hand, go after him. So these rounds for me were pretty even though you were operating at 50%.
We're still rolling. We're still in
so
there.
yeah, I looked at round, I think it was round 5, and I thought, okay, like it looks like.
Oh, boy.
Getting his faculties back.
Watch the next time I hit him with a left hook in the next fight.
Good jab.
See?
So it became a bit of a jabbing war.
Yeah, counter with that right.
But it seems to be 2 boxers with no problems.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like. It looks like it.
Yeah.
You said, why do I feel like this?
Correct.
Now, I didn't see that because I'm
You're
there.
in the arena.
I'm in the arena.
Yeah.
Have you felt like that before?
No. I just think where I was hit on the side of the head, where I went starting at the races already, I was a bit, just thinking, nah, man. And it was just too much of an uphill struggle at the time.
We now go into round 7. Could you feel the atmosphere in the stadium at this point, or are you just kind of in your head at the moment?
Pilot, yeah.
You landed a good left hand, but he landed one simultaneously and lands a flurry.
The right hand.
But then you come back and you land again, and then he lands. But obviously, because you've taken the shots in the top of your head, you're still fighting like AJ, but you can't take the shots that you usually would because early doors. It's like early doors, top of the head shots. Like for anyone that's boxed knows that they
rattle the body.
They're horrible.
They rattle the body, yeah.
See, and when you're in the corner and the ref's talking to you, and you've kind of got a smile on your face.
So like my gum shoulder's out on the floor.
Yeah.
Okay. So I've walked back to the corner and he's counting, and I think he's still in the count. So he's like, walk forward. So I've walked 2 steps forward, and he's holding my belt, and then he's kind of pushed my belt back. So I've put my arms on the ropes. I thought he was gonna put my gum shield in my mouth, or you call your corner over to rinse your. I've been in boxing for a long time, and then straight after that situation, where he's pushed me back in the corner, he just called off the fight. But my gum shield's not in my mouth, so if you haven't put the gum shield in my mouth and asked me if I'm ready to fight, how can you call off a fight when the person isn't fully... It's like telling someone he can't fight, but he's only got one glove on. You haven't given him the chance to fight, to call a fight off. And that was the whole point of it, is like, for me, is even though it's an uphill struggle, I'm gonna always get up and be in his face. Even though I'm struggling, I just wanted to get up and just kind of stay in as long as I could. I'd rather have gone out on my back than the referee calling it off, but he has a job to do and we respect that. And that's just how I felt about the stoppage, is you should have put the gum shield in my mouth.
It's weird because it looked, you looked relatively fine. Obviously you weren't feeling relatively fine. But you look, I mean, I remember like, when he called it off, everyone was just like, huh? Which means obviously you looked fine. Relatively fine, although it's not how you felt. You were super gracious.
Yeah, you gotta be humble in defeat. But it is what it is. It's like
the agony in defeat. Now, your truth led you to this point, so just stay in it. You know what I mean? Now, your homies over there, the guys that's interviewing you, that might be your boy you on the low. He's telling you might have looked okay to fight. Yes, you were standing. Yes, you feel as though you should have went out on your shields. But AJ, man, you went down a lot, dude. You didn't know where you were, so it's best that the referee stopped the fight in your best interest, considering all of the things that were happening. Now, you just got to own it, move forward with the rematch. But I digress. Let's go ahead and finish this off.
How I look at it is, I take in L's, I know how to fight, and I know how I beat most of these top heavyweights. So until the day I stop is the day they shouldn't fear me. But until then, just know I'm knocking on everyone's door and I'm coming. I've done it once, I can do it again. I've won, I've unified the division twice, become heavyweight champion. I've been put on my back, I've lost. I'm an experienced fighter, so we'll see what more I have to give.
You see, like, did you ever have a fear of losing?
Never a fear of losing. Never a fear of losing.
You've got the Ruiz Jr. rematch, and it's almost as if you can just put it all on the line now.
Every time I fight, it's going to be on the line now. It's deeper than Ruiz Jr. This is about my decisions as a man, my decisions as a fighter, my decisions as the only man in the ring, my decisions as who I want around me in my training team, my decisions of the partners I work with outside of boxing. This is putting it all on the line in terms of me as a person, because coming through the division from the amateurs to now, like, I've been kept tucked away. Finch AVC, Sheffield, I've just been like, boom, tucked away. And now I need to expand my horizons and now put in everything I've learned, I need to take with me and say, well, now this is what I want to do. I want to unleash the beast.
Now, every time I tell y'all Anthony Joshua need to let his nuts hang, speak his truth, do him, etc., etc., this is exactly what I mean. And obviously, I might be an American, but I must not be too far off understanding where he's coming from, because that's exactly what he's telling you how he feels. He feels like he's been kept in a box. He feels like he can't unleash the beast. He can't do his thing. So now, just like he been popping shit in this interview, he want to pop shit to these other heavyweights too. He feel like he been keeping the lid on it, trying to play nice, but playing nice don't get you nowhere. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, you can be as nice as you want to be, but the truth hurts. So if he's a truthful guy, he has to exist in that, and then telling the truth, he's gonna have to hurt a few feelings and ruffle a few feathers. So now he's saying, fuck that shit. The gloves is off. I'm knocking on everybody's door. All y'all gonna feel me. I know how to run through half of y'all niggas, so what's up? Pretty much, you know what I mean? He know how to run through all of them for real. But what's up? Let's get it. So you can't expect him, man. He's still that classy guy you think of him and all of that. But man, that nigga's young and he a fighter, man. So he need to let go a little bit. Not just act all extra, but he needs to do exactly what he's doing right now. I'll digress.
And I feel like it took a time like this, not like this, because if I would have won, we would have been sitting here not having this conversation.
Well, we just analyzed that whole JD Sports interview as I thought. You know, he's peeling it back in layers now that I'm actually seeing this and not getting to see the article. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you guys understand what I'm saying. I understand what he's saying, you know, and there's more he's going to let us know. In my opinion, he's telling this man the journey's just getting started because he about to heat this whole shit up. But that's all I got for you guys. As we always say, it costs you nothing to pay a nigga no mind. I know this joint was a little longer than normal, but this was one of those things that we had to analyze and we had to assess and break down top to bottom. All right, y'all enjoy y'all day. Respect, though.